All right, guys. So, week 3, right? Pretty sure week 3, max effort upper, man, and we are finally getting to our first floor press variation, which floor press is like my weakest bench variation. I think, like relatively speaking, it's more than my incline, but like I feel strong on incline, relatively speaking. Whereas this, just my poor little baby triceps, dude, just fucking always struggle on this variation. And neutral grip doesn't make it any easier. Neutral grip is arguably way harder. I hit 315 on a straight bar floor press long before I hit 315 on a neutral grip floor press. So, which that is our current standing PR. I do remember hitting 315 on neutral. It sucked. It was really hard. So with that kind of at the forefront of our mind, I mean, I'm gonna try and beat it. But if we do, it's gonna be like 320. It ain't gonna be, anything well over that. I mean, at least I can't imagine it would be. I don't believe my bench has gotten that much stronger in the time frame between. But anyway, nothing fancy, dude. Like, we just lay down on the ground. We're going until our triceps hit the floor, and we press from there. Floor press obviously works on that partial range of motion strength, and arguably, if your floor press is pretty strong, your full bench should be comparatively just as strong, if not way stronger. And that's because you finally get the pecs to contribute more to a full range press. Now, obviously, if your pecs are weak, then that logic goes out the window. But if you're full range bench pressing majority of the time, your pecs aren't weak. Either your technique sucks or you lose the bench at that midway where the triceps take over, right? So we're going to give it a shot. Like I said, 315 is the current PR. If we can hit 315 again, maybe at like a lesser RPE, shit, I'll fucking take that. So anyway, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladder progression. Let's fucking get after it, dude. And if you haven't floor pressed before, I should say you kind of have two camps of people with how they floor press. That might need to come down one more. They either press with their legs up like this or legs extended. I don't like floor pressing like this because people have a tendency of doing this, pushing off, right? When the legs are straight, it's just lower body tension, and you keep all the work in the arms. That's the way I prefer to do my floor presses. I'm not saying one is necessarily wrong. I just think if you are in the camp of doing a floor press to begin with, you're probably doing it to emphasize the upper body, like without leg drive. Same reason people do Larson presses, right? So if this is your logic for doing it, then don't use leg drive here. You might as well just go leg straight. Keep to the logic of your decision. But anyway, I don't want to rant too long. Like most days, I got shit to do. So we're going to slap some weight on here, get right to work. Oh, I did mean to bring this down. Ha! I forgot already. Might actually be okay. The first time I hit the rack, so I'm going to bring that bar down like I said I was going to. All right. I haven't really talked to you guys through my plan yet, but kind of what I'm thinking is 255, which is what we're on right now, into 285. So we'll do another 30-pound jump. And then I'll go 20 pounds to 305, and then 15 to 320. And kind of, because if 305 moves well, 320 should be there. And if 305 moves like shit, we'll just try and do 315 and just kind of see what we can do. Yeah. All right, 285 this is probably like last warm-up territory, because 300 plus on a floor press is like pretty fucking hard. But everything seems to be moving pretty well so far. All right, this is the telling rep right here. Belt is on. Go, baby. That felt pretty good, actually. That actually felt pretty good. All right, we're going for it. 320 on the bar. 305 moved well enough to where I'm confident that 320 can happen. It's going to be a grinder. I know that for a fact already. It's going to be a grinder, but I think we can do it. Now, if you're curious why the safeties aren't up, the bar hits the ground, like rests on the ground, and it's above me. I just have to wheel it all the way out here, which, speaking of, thanks for the reminder. That just makes it easier to roll all the way out, and then I just sit up and stand up. So yeah, if I staple myself, it's not that big of a deal. I just bring it all the way down to the ground. I'm procrastinating. I just need to focus. Easy peasy, dude. That was definitely better than the previous 315 that I did. That was really smooth. But like everything else, we take our W, we move the fuck on. I would want to do 325, but I had to hype myself up for that. So we're taking the win, moving on. We're doing, I believe, loaded push-ups after this. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that shit up. We'll get after it. All right, we got the push-up set up here. So I actually kept the Swiss bar up here. All I did was just flip it around. So if you can tell on camera, this bar is cambered, right? So there's a little bend on the outer handle. And so I flip it over so that when I'm doing like a push-up here, I'm getting full ROM, which is really nice. Just in case you haven't seen me do this before. And obviously I got my chain out because we're gonna load it via the lat pull down. And yeah, that's all. Anyway, I was having some thoughts about the bench that I just set. Because I've had this conversation before with other people where, you know, they're like, dude, that moved really well. Like, why don't you keep going up? Like, just do another one. Like, that moved, like, really well. And the thing is, it can look like it moves really well. But one of the things that I use in my, like, gauging of a max effort attempt is not just bar speed, but how hard it felt. How much did I actually have to exert myself to get the weight? And so, like, normally I don't have to hype myself up, but I did for that because I was fucking nervous. And I was like, well, I have to amp myself up if I expect to get this, right? Just hyping yourself up multiple times in a row is exhausting. And so I try not to do that. I'll do it one time for a PR, but I'm not doing that multiple times in a row just to keep stacking wins. I already got my W. I don't care. You know, and some people don't view training the same way. They're like, no, fuck that. If it was that easy, I'm going up. Which I agree. If it goes up easy, like, yeah, do another one. But you have to consider most people also burn out really fast. And they're like, well, you know, when I was younger, I could do that shit all the time. I can't do it anymore. Like, yeah, bro, because you were probably doing that all the time. Hyping yourself up. Fuck it. Send it. You know, that's exhausting. And you're putting a lot of really, honestly, unneeded stress on yourself. So now, you know, 10 years later, you can't even remotely train as hard because, you know, you fucking were always gassing yourself up. You know, I intend on training until I'm fucking dead. So with that context, yo, man, I got a 5-pound PR. Cool. I'm moving on. See ya. Because I want to train until I'm dead. I'll be 90 years old still lifting weights. And those, I know for a fact, those young kids are like, damn, man, look at you, you jacked-ass grandpa. Like, well, and I'm like, yeah, I intend to be that guy. And you don't really get there by pushing yourself super hard all the time. It's fun to push yourself hard. I agree. Ugh, I like doing it. But you got to be realistic at the same time. We're doing sets of 8, by the way. That was 70 pounds. I'm looking at like 100, I think. So we're going to go 90, and then I'm going to slap a 10 on there and see what we can do. But anyway, like, that's kind of what I'm getting at, man. Training for the long haul. You know, I mean, there's a lot of instances where I was at seminars, certifications for the PPSC, which I'm sure you've seen their branding on my clothes. And we ask a question at the beginning of every cert. It's like, how many of y'all have pain that you're dealing with right now? Whatever it is, acute, chronic, severe, whatever. And out of, let's just use 100 as an example, out of a room of 100 people, quite literally like 95 of them will raise their hand. You'll have a couple or a few that are pain-free. And even then, follow-up questions to those people, sometimes they'll still say they've been dealing with it for so long they ignore it. But they'll be like, yeah, I do have like a shoulder that like acts up on me, you know, but I've had it for so long, it's, you know, whatever. I'm like, so you are in pain. So it's a lot. It's almost 100%. And so I witnessed that enough times where I'm like, I don't want to be that person, because I was that person, especially when I was powerlifting. I was in pain all the time, and I don't like that. I like training heavy. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'm a fucking meathead, man, but not enough to where I will gladly, or maybe not gladly, but neutrally be in pain for the sake of my lifting career. I don't care. I'm going to train as hard as I can, but I'm also going to avoid pain where I can. I'm not going to purposely bring that upon myself. It's stupid. And so a lot of the things that I choose to do, or the methodology that I choose to use, is in support of that. Anyway, I'm ranting for a really long time. So I'm going to go ahead and shut up, and we're going to keep training. But yeah, that's why I don't chase PRs too hard, you know? 5 pound, take your W, go home. Nice. All right, we're moving into half kneeling rows. I have a little bit of a interesting setup here. I obviously got the blue pad out for my knees. I scoot over far enough because obviously the low row is like center position. So I can't place myself in the center because then I'm pulling the cable out at an angle. So I'm gonna be offset either direction, just so I have this nice front to back pull with the cable. And then I load a barbell in my J-cups here, so I have something to brace against this way. And then just like our rows from Saturday, well, actually, I don't know if it was last Saturday. I can't remember. We're not using a whole lot of rotation. There's a little bit of rotation at the bottom, a little bit of internal rotation, but I'm not twisting the torso. The torso is going to stay pretty rigid, facing the front, and then all the rotation is occurring in the arm. Nothing too crazy. We got a 45 on there right now. I'm going to go for 75, I think. So we'll do 65, and then I'll make a jump to 75. Unless I feel like I can just go straight there. Depends on how easy this feels. But 90-90 position with the feet. I should mention, we are doing a little drop set after this, but it's going to be a bilateral drop set, which you'll see what that is in just a second. But we're only doing it on the last set. Not too bad, actually. Oh. Oh. One more. Going to 75. All right, y'all. So this is the finale. So what's going to happen here is we're going to do our set like normal. So you got 75 on there right now. We're going to do our set like normal. 8 each side, okay, which is going to be fucking heavy. And then once we do that, I have my second handle here. I'm going to throw on the stack. And then we're going to sit down. And we're going to do a bilateral, both hands, seated cable row. And we're going to go until I fucking cry. Okay? Previous record, I believe, was like 20 reps or 25, something like that. If we can get 30, that'd be fucking sick. Rules for the AMRAP, usually, I try not to take breaks. So if I have to stop in between reps, you're done. And that's just a mental willpower slash, like, just, what's the word I'm looking for? Like work capacity kind of focus. Because obviously if you were to take breaks between reps, I mean, you'd probably be there all fucking day, right? So I try to keep the reps as consistent as possible. And then when I stop, I'm done. So that's the rule. Again, we're aiming for 30 on that one. And it's a drop set, so there's no rest period in between, just in case y'all were curious about that. It's just, the rest period is just going to be however long it takes to just set it up. Oh. 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 Oh yeah, that's fucking heavy, dude. Oh. So the second handle goes on. Ugh. I got 32. That's not bad. Oh god, my hands. Oh. Fuck. Wide grip, flat pull down. We got 100 pounds on the stack. Go for 20 reps. And I know you're probably like, 20 reps? What the fuck? Yeah, we're doing a descending ladder. The straps are on just so I can focus. and my contraction and not my grip strength. Oh, stretch feels great. Whew. All right, now we're going to 15. So we're gonna bump the weight up. 15 reps are next. Oh, that's heavy, buddy. Whoa. Oh, come on. And you bring the roller down just a little bit. Oh, come on, get there. God damn. All right, this is 145 for 10. The ROM isn't as clean as I want it to be, but we're gonna go for it anyway because trimming 5 reps is a lot. So, I mean, I think I'll be okay. Let's see. I just need 10, and then we got a loaded stretch at the end. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh. Oh. I'm just holding on for dear life here. Oh, God. Oh, God, come on. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. And that loaded stretch at the end, even with straps on, you still have to hold on. So I'm trying to keep a tight grip around the bar the whole time. Oh, fuck. That was horrible. All right, we're just about done. We got one accessory. That's it. Rear delt flies for 20 reps, which this might be a little aggressive. These are 15s. I don't know. Rear delt flies normally aren't that hard. And it's no fancy shit like YTIs or anything like that. It's just straight reps. So we'll see. We got 4 rounds of these. We're going to pump the shit out of the rear delts. Ugh. So again, sometimes we'll do sets to failure, like high intensity sets for the accessories. Sometimes it's dedicated pump work. It's multiple sets across, straight sets, and just pumping the shit out of whatever muscle we're targeting. We got 3 more of those. Rest time's gonna be short, 45 to 60. Oh. Oh. 2 down, 2 to go. Ah. Ah. 1 more, guys. 1 more. Fuck. Oh, fuck, dude. Last one. Last 20. I know my range of motion is kind of failing a little bit. I need you to believe in me. Oh, God. Ugh. These are going to turn into swings by the end. Oh. 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 Jeez. Oh. That was a good one. Whew. That was a good one. That was pumpy. It was really pumpy. I liked it though. Starting to get real hot out here, man. Luckily, I have a fan, but even then, it's still just like I'm drenched, dude. Oh fuck. Oh, but I am feeling really good despite all that. Whew. I'm not going to talk too much just because I don't really have anything to say. Um, I got some work I got to go finish up for today. It's been a busy few weeks, as you guys know. Um, so just trying to stay on top of everything and still get training in, and yeah. And I've been getting more steps in too, because every once in a while I kind of check like my habits, like you know how like iPhone has like the screen time thing, and then you can check your daily steps and stuff. Every once in a while I kind of check those metrics to kind of see how everything's going. Like it's very easy to kind of fall off the train. And yeah, my steps were lower than I was hoping. Screen time was actually way higher than what I thought. But partially that's because of work. Um, because you can divide it up by apps to see where you're spending most of your time. So, um, yeah, trying to dial all that stuff in because again, like you know, it's the easy stuff that no one thinks about that is probably like the biggest determinant of your health. You know, people think initially that it's in the gym every day for hours, eating boiled chicken and broccoli 3 times a day. You know, and it's not, man. It really is like the simple stuff, like just making sure you're getting your steps in, eating just like an adult, which just means 80% of the time you're eating whole food. And the other 20% can be when shit hits the fan and you got to order takeout or whatever. But even then, like takeout food has gotten so much better in the past few years, where, you know, you can, depending on where you live, you have access to a pretty high quality takeout. And obviously, it does depend on where you live. Sometimes you don't have access to a safe neighborhood to walk around or healthy alternatives for fast food, or maybe you're in a very low income area to where the money you make immediately goes out the window to pay for all your necessities. Like, so, you know, I get it, but I feel like majority of people do honestly think being healthy requires this huge investment. And I don't necessarily think that's true. I think the bar is really low. Um, because really, even total body twice a week, 60 minutes in the gym. If you have a plan, which is what you would pay a personal trainer for or whatever, you just get a plan, show up, train hard, beat the logbook, eat like an adult majority of the time. I mean, honestly, that probably would solve majority of your problems in terms of health. And then obviously daily steps, and that's fucking cake, dude. Because even if you don't live in a safe area, I'm gonna use this example again. They make super cheap treadmills on Amazon, like little walk pad things. Dude, just set it up in your living room, throw your favorite TV show on, and just fucking walk, bro. You don't have to walk fast. It's just about movement at that time. You know what I mean? Anyway, I said I wasn't gonna talk too much, and here I am fucking ranting. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to work. I got some shit to do. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the block. I say that every time, but it's just because I love this shit a lot, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. But anyway,